fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what I'm... look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Now, I'm going to speak to the man he singled out in just a moment. But first, Dana Bash is out front with Trump's racially charged comments.
This judge is of Mexican heritage. I'm building a wall. Okay, I'm building a wall.
A federal judge of Mexican descent whom Donald Trump wants removed from one of the fraud cases against Trump University.
If you are saying he can't do his job because of his race, is that not the definition of racism?
I don't think so at all.
Yet virtually every other Republican is suggesting that's exactly what it is, even staunch Trump supporters.
If a liberal were to attack Justice Clarence Thomas on the grounds that he's black, we would all go crazy. Every conservative would say it was wrong, and it was racism.
The trouble for Trump? This is just the latest in a string of incendiary comments going back to 2011, when he infamously questioned whether Barack Obama was really born in the U.S.
He doesn't have a birth certificate.
And more recently, reluctance to denounce a former KKK leader.
Honestly, I don't know David Duke. I don't believe I've ever met him. I'm pretty sure I didn't meet him.
Trump later made clear he would disavow David Duke. Then, late last week, Trump referred to a black supporter in the crowd this way.
Look at my African-American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest?
That supporter, congressional candidate Gregory Cheadle, told CNN he wasn't offended, but acknowledged others were. Then there was Trump's controversial call to temporarily ban all Muslims from entering America.
We have to stop the Muslims until we find out what's going on.
That drew support from GOP primary voters, but was condemned by many GOP leaders.
This is not conservatism.
As for Trump's inflammatory remarks regarding the federal judge,
he's a hater. His name is Gonzalo Curiel.
Republicans may think it's morally wrong, but they also worry it's politically destructive for the GOP, since Hispanics are such a growing force in the U.S. population, 55 million nationally as of 2014, compared to just 9.6 million some 40 years ago, according to the Pew Research Center. Alienating voters with racial intolerance is what several former Trump GOP opponents warned about.
I think embracing Donald Trump is embracing demographic death.
Going for votes in a rather narrow Republican primary electorate, Trump prevailed. But now, Trump is the leader of the party of Abraham Lincoln, and the country becoming less and less white, which makes his comments more and more alarming to many Republicans.
But based on that conference call Trump had with supporters today, Aaron, he urged them, of course, as we've been reporting, to push back rather than to give in or recalibrate. Doesn't sound like Trump is prepared to listen to the tough love he's getting, even from the most ardent and prominent backers he has.
All right, Dana, thank you very much. And out front now, the man Donald Trump called my African-American, Gregory Cheadle, a Republican running for Congress in California. This is his first national television interview. Gregory, so when Donald Trump singled you out, at that very instant, what went through your mind? What was your initial reaction?
Well, my initial reaction was nothing more than a jovial surprise. I'm still blown away why so many people have made this an issue. It was just a fun thing to happen. Everybody there was happy. It was a jovial event. I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised. It was funny more than anything else.
So when he used the word "my," that some have interpreted to be condescending, derogatory, hearkening back to another gone era in this country, did you take any umbrage at the word "my"?
No. I mean, when you look at what Donald was saying, initially he was saying that it was a great fan. This African American was a great fan, and then after he made the remark, he says, "Aren't you the greatest?" So how in the world can I take offense at being a great fan and the greatest? No, I'm still not offended by it.
So others who were offended said that you should have been offended because he was singling you out. There's my African American. There's my black guy. They have called you some ugly racial names for essentially being what they say is a sellout. The hashtag Trump's African American was even trending on Twitter, as you know, Gregory.
It is astounding what's happening on Twitter. I mean, what it does show is that there needs to take place in this country healing regarding races. you know, blacks and whites, we have a history of, you know, dissent. And so we have to come together. We have to make the effort to come together. I find a gross inconsistency with, you know, the outrage that's directed toward me instead of Mr. Trump. It's inconsistent in that, on the one hand, they want to call me a sellout and Uncle Tom and whatever else. That's fine. But the problem is, how can they look in the mirror and call themselves the N-words and all these other things when they're listening to rap music and so forth and so on? So the real issue is that, how in the world can we expect others to accept and appreciate us when we don't accept and appreciate ourselves?
Now, Gregory,